Throughout history, there have been many people who have seemingly vanished into thin air. But who were these people and why did they disappear? From powerful leaders to curious explorers. Here are 20 real historical figures who disappeared without a trace. Umbiort. In the 1st century BCE, Umbiorix was a warrior and the leader of the Disappearance tribe who lived between the River Somme and the River Meuse, in what is today Belgium and the Netherlands. He resisted the Roman invaders and with the help of neighboring tribes fought against the Roman general Julius Caesar. He succeeded in defeating Caesar's legions, but later, his warriors were defeated and he fled. After this defeat, he disappeared from history and his fate remains unknown. There are speculations that he might have been killed in battle or executed by the Romans, but there is no evidence to support either theory. King Arthur. King Arthur is a legendary British leader who, according to some medieval texts, ruled as king of the Britons from around 500 AD. Whether he was a real man or just a product of folklore is debatable. Despite being a legendary figure, there is no record of his death or burial. This has led to speculation that he may have actually lived longer than the legends suggest. Some believe he may have died in battle with the Saxons, while others claim he was betrayed by one of his own knights. However, all we know is that he disappeared from history. Theodosios the Younger was the East Roman emperor, ruling from 408 to 450 AD. He was known for his ambitious building projects and issuing of gold coins, but also for the constant struggles he faced to maintain control of the vast empire. His disappearance occurred in 450 when he set sail from the Byzantine capital of Constantinople for his villa in the Palestinian city of Gaza to begin his retirement. It was said that the ship carrying him and his family got caught in a storm and vanished without a trace. It is speculated that the emperor and his close family perished at sea, but their bodies were never recovered, and there is no solid proof of their fate. Roanoke Colony. The Roanoke Colony was an English settlement on the Roanoke Island in North Carolina. Founded in 1587, it was the first attempt by England to establish a permanent colony in North America. When the supply ship arrived the following year, it had found the fort deserted. The only clue as to the colonists' whereabouts was the word Croatoan carved into a post. There were no signs of a battle, and no bodies were found, leading to speculation that the settlers had either assimilated with a local Native American tribe or had been abducted. Several theories have been proposed over the years, but the truth behind the colony's disappearance remains a mystery. Prince John of England. Prince John was the youngest son of King Henry II of England and the younger brother of King Richard the Lion. During his life, he held various titles, including Lord of Ireland and Duke of Normandy. He played a significant role in the English Civil War known as the Anarchy. Towards the end of his life, he fell ill and died. However, the circumstances surrounding his death are unclear. One theory suggests he was poisoned by his wife, Isabella of Angers, while another claims he was killed on the orders of his nephew, King Henry III. However, there is no conclusive evidence to support either claim, and his death remains a mystery. Bison Dele. Bison Dele was an NBA player in the 1990s who achieved all-star status and was regarded as one of the league's top power forwards during his time. However, despite his achievements in basketball, little is known about his personal life. In July of 2002, Dele, along with his brother, stepmother, and 2 friends vanished while sailing in the South Pacific. Their boat was found abandoned and adrift, but there was no sign of the crew. A search was conducted, but no trace of them was ever found, and their disappearance remains unexplained. What makes this case even more intriguing is that it was not the first time Bison had gone missing. In 1988, he disappeared for nearly 3 weeks without informing anyone. He was eventually found safe and sound, although the reason behind his absence was never revealed. Due to this prior incident and his reclusive nature, speculation arose regarding his mental health, leading some to believe that he may have intentionally vanished. Percy Fawcett. Sir Percy Fawcett was an explorer and an officer in the British Army, who went missing in 1925 while searching for a lost city in the Amazon rainforest. He believed that the area held the ruins of a great civilization, and spent years exploring the region in search of it. He was last seen at his camp in Brazil, and after failing to return to base, a search party was sent out to locate him. However, they were unable to find any trace of him or his companions, and the trio was officially declared dead in 1927. There have been several theories regarding their disappearance, including attacks by hostile tribes and deadly wildlife encounters. However, their fate remains a mystery to this day. Agatha Christie. Agatha Christie was an English writer, best known for her 66 detective novels and 14 short story collections. She is regarded as one of the most successful writers of all time, with her books having sold over 2 billion copies worldwide. However, Christie herself went missing for 11 days in December of 1926, which remains one of the most famous missing person cases in history. She was discovered in a London hotel room with no memory of the previous 11 days. She had been reported missing after her car was found abandoned on a country road, and a massive search had been launched to locate her. While the circumstances surrounding her disappearance remain a mystery, it is speculated that she may have been suffering from amnesia brought on by exhaustion, or that it was a publicity stunt. Gaspar Corte-Real was a Portuguese navigator who vanished in 1501 while exploring the coast of Newfoundland, Canada. He was part of a larger Portuguese expedition led by John Cabot, who was trying to find a sea route to Asia. While exploring the coast, Corte-Real and his crew landed on an island and made contact with the local indigenous people. However, when they attempted to leave, they were unable to find their ship, and their fate remains unknown. Some believe they were captured by the indigenous people, while others speculate that they perished due to the harsh weather conditions. However, there is no evidence to support either theory, and their disappearance remains a mystery. Louis Le Prince. Louis Le Prince was a French inventor and is considered to be the pioneer of early cinema. He invented a camera that could capture moving images and is credited with filming the first known motion picture. However, Le Prince disappeared in 1888 under mysterious circumstances while traveling from the United States to England. He boarded a train in New York with his wife and 2 daughters, but never arrived at his destination. The only clue to his whereabouts was a torn piece of paper found in his luggage containing the name of a small village in England. However, there was no sign of him or his family in the village, and their disappearance remains a mystery. Jean-François de Galaup was a French naval explorer who disappeared in 1788 while exploring the coast of Australia. He was commissioned by the French Navy to map the coastline and search for any signs of life. However, his ship was never seen again, and his fate remains unknown. Some believe that the ship was lost at sea due to the rough weather conditions, while others speculate that the crew was killed by hostile natives. However, there is no evidence to support either theory, and his disappearance remains a mystery. John Cabot. John Cabot was an Italian explorer who vanished in 1498 after completing his voyage from Bristol, England. He was hired by King Henry VII to find a direct route to Asia and was successful in reaching the mainland of the United States. However, when he returned to Bristol, he was never seen again. Some believe that his ship was lost at sea and everyone on board perished, while others speculate that he was killed by rival explorers. However, there is no evidence to support either claim, and his disappearance remains a mystery. Harold Holt. Harold Holt was the 17th Prime Minister of Australia who disappeared in 1967 while swimming at Port Campbell, Australia. He was known for his love of the sea and was experienced in boating and surfing. However, on the day of his disappearance, he went missing after falling off his boat. A massive search was launched, but his body was never recovered, and his disappearance remains a mystery. Some believe he may have been swept away by a strong current and drowned, while others speculate that he was taken by a shark. However, the truth behind his disappearance remains unknown. Antoine de Saint-Exupéry was a French writer, poet, and aviator who is best known for his novella, The Little Prince. He was also a pilot during World War II, and disappeared in 1944 while on a reconnaissance mission over the Mediterranean. His plane was reported missing, and a search was conducted, but no trace of him or the aircraft was ever found. It is believed that he was shot down by German forces, but his remains have never been recovered, and his disappearance remains a mystery. Everett Roos. Everett Roos was a young adventurer and poet, disappeared in 1934 while exploring the desert regions of the American Southwest. He was known for his love of the outdoors and his passion for exploring remote areas. However, in December of 1934, he went missing while exploring the deserts of Utah. A search was conducted, but no trace of him was ever found, and his disappearance remains a mystery. Some believe that he may have become lost while exploring the vast desert and perished due to the harsh conditions, while others speculate that he may have met with foul play. Michael Rockefeller. Michael Rockefeller was an American explorer and the son of Vice President Nelson Rockefeller. He was known for his work in anthropology and his exploration of remote tribes in New Guinea. However, in 1961, he vanished while exploring the Asmat region of New Guinea. He was last seen by his boat crew, who claimed that he had gone ashore to investigate a native village. A search was conducted, but no trace of him was ever found, and his disappearance remains a mystery. Some believe that he may have been killed by the natives, while others speculate that he was taken by wild animals. Judge Joseph Crater. Judge Joseph Crater was an American lawyer and judge who disappeared in 1930 after attending a baseball game in New York City. He was well respected in the legal community, and his disappearance caused a national scandal. The last person to see him alive claimed that he had left the stadium alone. A massive search was conducted, but no trace of him was ever found, and his disappearance remains a mystery. Some believe that he may have been kidnapped and held for ransom, while others speculate that he may have been killed by organized crime figures. Barbara Newhall Follett was an American novelist who disappeared in 1939 from her apartment in Manhattan. At the time of her disappearance, She was 25 years old and had recently published her first novel, The Voyage of the Normandy. She was last seen by her husband, who claimed that she had left the apartment to go shopping. A search was conducted, but no trace of her was ever found, and her disappearance remains a mystery. Some believe that she may have run away from home, while others speculate that she may have been kidnapped and held for ransom. Benjamin Bathurst. Benjamin Bathurst was a British diplomat who disappeared in 1809 while traveling in Germany. He was serving as the British Consul General in Hamburg at the time of his disappearance, and was on his way to Berlin to deliver a letter to the British ambassador. He was last seen boarding a carriage with 2 other diplomats and was never seen again. Some believe that he may have been assassinated on the orders of the French government, while others speculate that he may have been killed by bandits. However, his disappearance remains a mystery. Emanuela Orlandi was a 15-year-old girl from Vatican City who disappeared in 1983. She was the daughter of a Vatican policeman and was last seen leaving her family's apartment in Vatican City to attend a music lesson. A massive search was conducted, but no trace of her was ever found, and her disappearance remains unsolved. Several theories have been proposed, including that she was kidnapped by the mafia or that she ran away to join a cult. However, the truth behind her disappearance remains unknown. These historical figures disappeared without a trace, leaving behind unanswered questions and speculation. If you enjoyed learning about these mysteries, be sure to check out other videos on similar topics. Thanks for watching.